looking at technology and what can technology do for the good? How can this help other people, not just corporate businesses, but down to the base level? AI is looking at data. It's not, doesn't have any wider sense. It's just looking at patterns, understanding of the new paradigm of predicting and preventing instead of reacting, which is still common today.
Hello everyone, my name is Arham and I welcome you in another exciting episode of the Business Narrative. Today we are going to dive into the digital world of healthcare and shift from reactive sick care to proactive healthcare. And today's guest is one of the pioneers of medical wearable in this digital era. And he is none other than Simon Beniston. Simon, it's totally an honor for me having you on our podcast.
It's a pleasure too. Yeah.
Simon, the digital healthcare is booming and like 86% till 2027, right? And mostly the executives, they're agreeing on it that it will be a top priority. So like what was the catalyst approach or like what was the driving force behind it that you made a decision that you were going to launch such unique products? On the other side, you were having a very ideal life, luxurious life. You were working in corporate, but you made a transition. Why?
Maybe. It was a catalyst of several things. Is that I'd reached the very top in corporate life, largest IT company in the world, and creating some things. And there was a change of business pressure. Okay, so that was a weight on my role. But secondly, it was sometimes for some people, and definitely for me, was I'm doing all these great things in technology, but it was around about, okay, I was looking at technology and what can technology do for the good? How can this help other people, not just corporate businesses, but down to the base level. So that was playing on my mind. Ironically, I had a unique moment as well, which really defined it to me. It was I was driving home late one night, and I came across somebody who'd I found out later had been in a hit and run accident. It was late at night, just him. I stopped my car, and he was in a really bad way, and I stemmed the bleeding from his head, called the emergency services, and at that point there was what I found is trying to get hold of the emergency services and knowing what to do. I tried my best, but I felt I wasn't fully educated. So that was another driver. I said, okay, I want to change this. I don't want to be in this position as well. So that was a very defining moment, helped save somebody's life, which is quite humbling. So I started looking at, okay, where is technology going? And I've always been one for a slight visionary. And this is 10, 15, maybe 13, 15 years ago. And I saw where the potential wearable technology was going. Now, wearable technology didn't really exist. But there was like starting people were looking into it and stuff like that. And that was my driver, is wearable technologies way before they happened. And I spent the first 5 years after I decided to leave my business, give everything up and start my business from nothing. I spent the first 5 years trying to educate the world on wearable technology. Okay. And it was okay. It was early dawn. It's a bit like early dawn in the internet, I guess, but early dawn on wearable tech. Apple watches or nothing on the wrist actually existed in those days, or was emerging. For me, to answer your question, the big change came with the pandemic and COVID. Lots of people needed isolation, nobody knew what to do. The hospitals were too full, and this was a global issue, as we all know. And I never wished that to happen. But to finalize your question before I talk too much, I think that changed healthcare for the future, for the best. The understanding of remote patient care, the understanding of the new paradigm of predicting and preventing instead of reacting, which is still common today. You break your leg, you go to hospital, or something happens, maybe worse, you have a heart attack, it gets reacted. If technology can prevent and predict that, then that puts the world in a better place.
I will totally agree with it. And according to insider intelligence, 500 million variables will going to be utilized till 2027. And as I said, that it will be a top priority, right? But your solution is Vital Patch, your product, right? So like, I want to know the detailed working of this product, because mostly people think that these products or these patches or these digital wearable products, it's not that much effective. And secondly, do let me know that you said that in your initial days, you were working, you were educating people for this technologies, right? So like, you are working free of cost. You had a family to feed. You have your own expenses. You were going around the world to educate people. Like, how you were surviving?
They're great questions. So before I get into the deep depths of this, there's still today, and I can see the emergence, there is a difference between medical wearable technology and consumer wearable technology. Consumer wearable technology is defined for if you're fit and healthy, maybe go to the gym, maybe go cycling, or you in general health. And so consumer wearable technology, you're talking about your Apple Watch or a Garmin, or maybe something you strap on your chest. These are good devices, and you can see the advances for the big players such as Samsung and Apple to make them medically accurate, but generally they're more of a health and wellness device. Whereas Vital Patch is a medical device. A Vital Patch can be used in intensive care, can be used for a hospital. And I always give the analogy of, if you're in hospital, would you want a machine, or would it say, hey, can we use your Apple Watch? Yeah, they're totally different. A medical certified FDA CE class 2, class 3 device is 99% accurate. Okay, and so that's the first classification. I think some people get a bit confused, and they're coming together over the next 10 years, but there's definitely a difference between medical and health and wellness. Okay, so what Vital Patch is a device, is a single-use patch you stick on your chest. Okay, and we made it super simple. You just activate it, and it also connects to a mobile device, such as a mobile phone. There's no pairing or setting up as you would normally with a Bluetooth device. So this device measures ECG, heart rate, respiratory rate, RR intervals, HRV, body temperature, skin temperature, activities such as steps, posture, fall detection. And we can also detect real-time arrhythmias in seconds for heart failure. And the core difference there is if you're in hospital, or even if you've got a consumer wearable device, in hospitals, maybe your vital signs get checked 4 times a day. Okay. With medical wearable technology such as Vital Patch, we measure every second. Okay, heart rate, body temperature. So just compare that each day. Instead of 4 times a day, we're measuring 86,400 times a day, or 84,600. I haven't done the maths, but around about 80,000 times a day. ECG, we measure 125 your heart 125 times a second. So just to put some maths around that, we measure the heart 75 million times a week. Okay, so you can see how the differences in data, and what that data then allows you to do is you can see somebody deteriorating before they get ill. They have studies of detecting falls 2 or 3 days before it actually happens, a flare up of the bowel 4 days, detecting somebody becoming seriously ill 17 hours before it actually happens. So this is the new paradigm of having this data, allowing you to predict and prevent instead of react. And that's and the key uses for our technology when we've delivered to 60 countries around the world is there's numerous cases with big pharma and research and stuff like that, but I'd say the two key cases, core cases globally, and again harking back to the pandemic, is one is virtual monitoring at home, virtual ward hospital at home. And this is where instead of a patient being in hospital, they can be sent home, okay, or it can actually prevent them going to hospital, okay. Is so being able to monitor at home. And we have great clinical studies where this has stopped readmission, who wants to be in hospital, the patient's happier and gets better quicker. And I guess globally, and it is, I see this in every country, as the world's population gets older, there is severe lack of hospital beds, okay. There's even people in corridors that they can't even have a bed or whatever. So medical wearable technology allows this to be overcome, okay. And there's some huge cost savings if you can monitor somebody better for just 5% of the cost of a hospital bed. Then you can let them go home. You're going to save the hospital is going to save a lot of money, but also somebody who is seriously or who needs to be in hospital gets a bed as well, okay. So that's one level. The other level we see globally, and this is the modern enhancement of ECG Holter monitoring. Is Holter monitoring has been around for 50 years. It's very well established. You'd go into a clinic or a hospital, they put loads of wires on you, they strap a big device to your belts, and they tell you to go away for a day, and then you come back again. They download the data, and on average, probably a week for the doctor to get the reports. Very uncomfortable. They are cheap, but very uncomfortable. With real-time medical devices such as Vital Patch, the patient doesn't need to come into hospital or clinic. They can just stick it on themselves at home. And we can monitor within seconds. So if you have a heart issue at 3:30 in the morning, we're going to capture it over 7 days and not 1 day. And secondly, using medically certified AI, we can create a medical report for a cardiologist in less than 10 seconds. Okay, so this is where the future's coming, on many levels, from saving people going to hospital, the environmental impact of that, and also responding in real time and making prevention as it happens. I think the other part of the question, and it's a great question actually, how could I survive for 5 years without making something? I think this is the question every startup person should ask themselves, is to set themselves the realization that if you're going to start up a startup, and I started MediBioSense, is one of the questions I said to myself is, can I work for 5 years, 7 days a week without earning any money? Am I prepared to put that effort in? Okay, this is the realization. This is you should, that's the effort it is to create a startup. Now, 95% of 90% of startups fail within the first 5 years. I think so. If you say to yourself, okay, what is the extreme here? What is this going to take me to do? Then you're in a good place. Now, that's what I had in my head. That's what I told myself. And so you're driven by, well, me personally, I know other, entrepreneurs who have a different view and they do very well. But for me, as a person, as an entrepreneur, as an innovator, I'm driven by success. Okay. And success, I'm never finished. Success is never finished. It's always growing. So, and from my view is, if you're successful, then the money will come. Okay. You just have to keep driving and be committed to do that. So I was never driven by the money. Okay. Ironically, obviously, it's always the money was a factor. I wanted to do well. I have to live. But by driving the success, especially in something new that didn't really exist or wasn't known, that was the effort. Over the first 5 years, yes, we did make money. Ironically, not much money, but we had the ears of the big pharma, such as GlaxoSmithKline, AstraZeneca, and did some small bits, and we defined ourselves. So we weren't profitable, not always profitable, but did have enough money to survive. And was the vision bigger than the reality? The vision was, and so now MediBioSense is 10 years old. Okay. I always say, I like to look at the company as only been 3 years old. Okay. Even though I've been, and I said, my thoughts of, okay, the first 7 years, and we made money. I had to feed my children, my family, and stuff like that. But I always said the first 7 years was digging the hole by hand to get to the coal face. Okay, seriously. So now, after that, for 3 years, and we're still growing, but we're successful, 60 countries, and it's getting bigger. I think that's the analogy I give myself after 10 years. I would like to point out, actually, there is, having come from corporate and seen many startup companies, I personally, I don't always recommend this, depends on how much you want to enjoy the roller coaster ride. I decided to totally fund this, bootstrap this myself. Okay. Because not that I wanted to have full ownership, but I wanted to own the vision and the direction. It's not wrong, and I see this, and people do very well, is, okay, instead of digging my hand for 7 years, you may want to buy in a machine, i.e. equity and investment, who can make you get there quicker. Okay, and that's fine. There's a balance between, okay, what you want to achieve, how you want to achieve it, what your vision is, what money you want, and I could go into a much deeper conversation around all that, probably over a beer, but that hopefully that answers your question.
I will definitely going to agree with it that AI has a lot of potential, and according to reports, that AI will going to save a lot of cost of medical healthcare, and it will help to transit in digital healthcare. But on the other side, the concern rises, which is it's very alarming situation, because the owners of AI or AI still claim that the information that AI provides, it's not 100% accurate. And don't you think that doctors' job, AI will going to steal their jobs? Because AI will do each and everything by its own. My vision is not clear. What will be the future look like of healthcare industry?
Yeah, there's some great things in there, and I think you asked the questions of many. So my view on AI, okay, and is that you can, there's a high level of concern, and I think about this myself. But the way I see AI for MediBioSense, and we are investing a lot into AI, is it should not be seen as a threat. It should be seen as an assistance. Okay, to if you're busy and you can't, currently running monitoring patients 4 times a day, and then that's still a lot of effort to go monitor for a nurse. If you can have somebody monitoring that every second for you, so this and looking at any issues that may happen, you're saving time and you're saving patients' lives. Okay, so AI should be seen as an assistance tool, to make your healthcare easier, to give you outcomes to assist you in your job. Okay, and so this is where I see AI is, finding things, allowing you to be predictive and preventative. Okay, by having the data, seeing the signs before they actually happen. Okay, and then assisting you. So I don't see the role of doctors or hospitals disappearing. I see it maybe changing in the sense of where healthcare may be going. Okay, and it's a change on model. But the one thing I know right now, and I can see this for the foreseeable future, is that currently we use AI to detect arrhythmias of the heart, ECG, AFib, and stuff like that. AI is looking at data. It's not, doesn't have any wider sense. It's just looking at patterns. And so AI can probably detect too much. It can, and it doesn't understand. It's just looking for something and it will detect it. Currently, and for the foreseeable future, only a human can make sense and look at that data. So AI is helping finding information, but actually a human needs to review that and look at the many different factors that may be involved in that. Okay, so you'll still need a human or a doctor to understand the AI. It's just not there. Okay, I think AI is sometimes blown out of proportion what people think AI can actually do. But the reality is it's not as good as you think it is, in my personal view, and it is growing. We always use chat. Everybody seems to be using ChatGPT now, and they say that's AI. For example, my view is on ChatGPT, which is great. Is ChatGPT is the new updated Google search. It's very good at searching it and very, and that's why people love it. Longer term, I can see healthcare changing with the use of AI and virtual wards. I can, especially for this generation who are very much on their phones. My generation, you still go to see the doctor, and that becomes harder now. When I was younger, it was you could see the doctor in the same day or the same week. Now, you can be waiting weeks to see the doctor, depending. Okay, the new generation, they're very much tied into technology and the mobile phones, and stuff like that. So the concept of virtual appointments or understanding, I can see that growing more. I do some teaching to MBA students each year, and one of the things I see, because I can see it happening, is I wonder in 5 years' time if the doctor of the future is going to be Amazon or Apple or Google, and as part of your, or even Netflix, a part of your Netflix subscription includes being able to see a virtual doctor or a real doctor, and and then your medicine's going to be dropped off by a drone by Amazon 20 minutes later. So I can see the potential for healthcare changing its model. Still needs doctors and education to do that. And whether you only go to hospital for surgery, and again, where can we go with surgery if you start doing robots, for example? Because a robot can do 20 operations a day without having a tea break. Yeah. So healthcare and humans and doctors are still going to be there, unless for the foreseeable future. AI technology is there to assist and to allow a change in the paradigm of healthcare from as I reiterate again, from a reactive to a preventative model, which is only going to help save lives and allow doctors and nurses to do what they do best.
Yeah, your points are still valid, and AI will going to save $150 billion annually for US health market. And on the other side, you are working on this particular initiative. So like how you are integrating AI in healthcare, and how this uh, predictive analytics will going to help people measure their health in a smarter way. So what are some steps that you guys are taking for the benefits of people?
Yeah. So yes, we're very much on board within the company on a couple of levels. Firstly, we already produced and released medically certified AI ECG. So what that means is we're sending the ECG data from our heart every second, and within and AI is monitoring that every second and looking for an issue, an arrhythmia of the heart. So within 30 seconds, AI can detect if you have AFib. Now, AFib is indicator of having a stroke. Okay, so we can do that in real time, and this means differently in real time. This means again, detecting something whilst you sleep. So 3:30 in the morning, we're monitoring the heart. Okay, AI also allows you to give you outcomes to the doctor to give them as an opinion and results again within seconds, that the doctor can go and double check. Going back to my issue about AI still learning and still getting there, but it's going to save a doctor an awful lot of time. Okay, is one level. The other level is around, as you mentioned, using AI in data, and so therefore, measuring 10 vital signs 86,000 times each a day is a lot of data, and so you can use that data to determine things. So a couple of other areas we're working on, and is one part of the data. We were detecting heart rate variability. Okay, primarily with patients who suffered from irritable bowel syndrome or blare up of the bowel. So using that data allowed us to predict with a high certainty the bowel would flare up and become enlarged 4 days before it actually happened. Okay, that's just data. One of the key areas we're looking at the moment, because it's probably one of the biggest things in healthcare, is in the elderly for fall detection. As you get older, the more you fall over more. Okay, and this is one of the biggest costs in the world, is people falling over. If you're quite young, you fall over, you get up, and you maybe graze your knee. If you're older, you fall over, you can break a hip quite easily. You can die. Yeah, it's just how you're part of life. So if you can look at multiple variables, including the vitals, look at movement, how often you move, we're also integrating live data from the weather for your specific location, how windy it is, what the humidity is, what the barometric pressure is, which way the wind's blowing, where you are. Then you can, our AI algorithms are determining the likelihood of you having a fall. Okay. So it's all about data. It's all about running the algorithms. It's all about the algorithms coming out with a prediction. Okay. And that prediction, especially at clinical level, you need to be, a good 90% plus to make it effective. So that's two key areas we're working on right now within the business.
So we have to accept this, that it's a new totally ecosystem. But in this digital ecosystem, everybody is concerned about their data. You talked about data, right? But data protection, data privacy is the most important thing. According to McKinsey, they were claiming that 70% of data in previous years, patients loses, they got to know that their data was leaked, and you are working on a similar pattern. How you will going to provide surety to those people who will going to purchase your product? And I know, as a student, I know that if you lose the trust of a consumer, you will going to lose a lot of customers, whatever you call it. So how you will going to give protection to your clients?
Yeah, totally agree. And it's a big area for us within the company. I never thought I'd become an expert in patient identifiable data and protection, but I've looked. So there's two areas here: is separating the technology from the secure system. Okay, so right now, hospital systems have to be very secure for patient identifiable data. Okay. And you have to have trust that they're fully protected from cyber, and they're only you get the data, nobody else sees the data, and so you're protected. With how we do this today with our wearable technology is we separated what's protected and what is known to what the data is. Okay, so in our wearable technology, we do not capture anything about the person, what their name is, where they are, what they do. All we're doing is we're sticking a device, a wearable patch on the chest. Okay, and that wearable patch does not know what it is, doesn't know where it is, who it is, or whatever. But that patch can interact with the body to detect up to 10 vital signs: heart rate, body temperature, ECG. So what that patch does, and we have high levels of security, so we encrypt that data, we send it, we use high level military grade Bluetooth connection, unlike your normal Bluetooth connection. So it is secured at source, but more importantly, that data, if it was captured or seen, all that data is showing is a time, okay, in milliseconds, followed by a string of values: 67, 87, 32, whatever. So the data is anonymous at source. Okay, so what we're doing is sending an anonymous source. So we don't know where that data, who that person is, where that data is. Just data is being streamed. Tens of thousands of millions of bits of data that are just being streamed. So we stream that into the secure system. Okay, so from outside our company, we don't know who that is, where it's going, or whatever. Okay, it is secured and encrypted. Okay, so we don't make it. It's not something that's open, so it is fully secured. But the reality is, and I spend a lot of time doing this and educating, is the data is anonymous at source. We do not capture what we call PID, patient identifiable data. Okay. What happens is once that data has been fed into the system at the secure end, then the cross correlation between that data and the patient, that handshake's taken. Okay. So that's what we do today. Can we do patient identifiable data and secure it and give confidence? Yes, we can. Typically, right now, what we do is why try and reinvent the wheel when the hospital system should, by default, be fully secured. Yeah. So we're just a feed into that secure environment. We don't have access to that secure environment. We can't see what happens in that secure environment. So that, you know, that generally we explain this to patients, and you know, and actually we have to educate the doctors and the hospitals about this as well. But that's our current model.
I think that we had a lot of things to discuss, but before leaving, any message you want to give to yourself, like back 20 years ago or like 10 years ago, a younger Simon? Still you are young Simon, but any message you want to give to your younger version?
The advice I give myself is, you know, if you can give something wholeheartedly with the expectation that you achieve something, and that doesn't have to be money, but yeah, you can say, I've achieved something, then you should go for it. Okay. And it's, you know, I used to worry because I started MediBioSense in my mid-40s. Okay. And I thought I was too old. You know, I thought you have to be young. I learned in hindsight that actually that's you know, a good age to be to start a startup, because you've got the knowledge and experience of life, and you're actually more likely to be successful. So you take your knowledge, you know, you can't life teaches you lessons. Okay, so don't be scared when you start. When you know, if you're young or you're old, you should go for it. Achieve, you know, try and achieve I set myself of trying to achieve the impossible. Okay, just you can make things happen. Yeah. And I used to worry about this, you know, about success. But if you know, and hindsight, I learned after. I didn't learn beforehand that if you look at some of the key entrepreneurs in the world, the Elon Musk, the Richard Bransons of the world, you know, Apple, Steve, and people like that. It makes me smile that I see myself in them. You know, it's go and break things, go and make things happen. You know, it's you know, stop. If you don't do it, it will never happen. You know, try to do it. So that's my advice to my earlier self. I was probably a bit too scared before 20 years ago to realize, but you know, if I would probably maybe have done something, been a bit more dynamic sooner. But I still say, hey, look, even if you're, you know, if you are in your 40s or 50s, still go for it. Go for it when you're 60. Okay, as long as you've got the commitment. Okay. The other thing I love saying to myself and to my children, actually, I was, you know, as I grew up, I was thinking, oh, I know everything. And I didn't, you know, as you learn, I'm still learning every day, you know, and, you know, I actually didn't feel, you know, on hindsight, I didn't feel like I was an adult until I was in my 40s. Yeah. So don't worry if you don't know everything, you know, it finally comes. But recently I've been saying to a lot of young people, I've been teaching, you know, especially in your 20s, you know, you're learning, and you know, sometimes you think we've all been there, especially young boys like me and you when we were younger. We think we knew everything at 20, you know, 25 and stuff like that. And you know, trying to things. But I always like to say that you become an adult when you're 20, not 16, not 18. You start becoming an adult at 20. So if you're 25 and you think you know everything, just remind yourself you're still only a 5-year-old adult, not 25. Okay, so you're still a baby adult. So that's everything I wish I knew in my 20s.
Thank you so much, Simon, for your precious time. And I hope all the viewers will going to love the podcast. If you love the podcast, do subscribe the channel and press the bell icon. We will be going to meet you in another exciting episode. Till then, keep daring and keep listening to the business narrative.